Hey, this is Dr. Joni. Let's talk. So, in my clinic, what frequently happens is we have a parent come in, we have their child evaluated for whatever reason. They're not doing well in school, they think they have ADHD, doesn't matter. We evaluate them and we find, lo and behold, yes, they have a learning disability, or they have ADHD, or they have autism. The next question I get is, well, I have a sister that has these issues, or their brother has similar issues. Should I bring my other kids in to have them evaluated? Well, here's what I would say to you. ADHD, learning disability, autism, they run in families. There is a genetic link. We haven't done all the research. We don't know exactly what the genetic link is, but if somebody has ADHD in the family, there's liable to be somebody else who has ADHD in the family, and the same for autism and the same for learning disabilities. But how do you know who that other person is? So what parents typically want to do is they rally up all their other kids, and we have some families of 4 and 5 in our clinic, and they bring everybody in and say, just check them all out. And that's okay. I mean, we can check them all out. If you want us to do that, we're right behind you. But the question is, when is that going to be of value? Because we're a value-based society, right? So we don't want to waste our time or our money if we're not doing something that's really not necessary. So what I would say to you is look at your other kids. Is anybody else struggling? And I mean, take a good look, because what often happens is we have one child who really needs our attention, and so we give all of our attention to that child, and we just assume the other ones are doing okay, all right? They're not screaming, they're not yelling, they're not failing, so they're all right. I don't have to worry about them. But after you have one diagnosed, then take a serious moment to look at the other kids. Just because they have straight A's, just because they're in the governor's program or they're taking IB classes, doesn't mean that they aren't struggling in some way. Doesn't mean that they're not performing to their fullest potential. You know, somebody may be getting A's and their potential is an A+. So if after you've taken a moment to look seriously at your other kids, if you feel like, yeah, this one is struggling a little bit, this one is working a lot harder than I would expect, this one is always frustrated and saying things like, I'm not smart or I can't do it. You know, if you feel in any way that your other kids are not reaching their fullest potential or they're struggling, by all means, that's when you need to have everybody evaluated. And not everybody, but that particular person. So you could just bring them all in, line them up, and we can check out all of them, but also recognize that some of these things, even though they're hereditary, they run in families, they're going to present themselves at different times in the life cycle. So you may have one child who has ADHD, who we see that ADHD when they enter school at 5. But you might have another child who is successful up until 11th grade when we start seeing that they're starting to struggle. And their grades are starting to fall. So my point is, if you get that 11th grader evaluated when they're in 5th grade, you might not see signs of or concerns for ADHD and autism, and that might give you a false sense of security. So I don't really suggest just bringing everybody in to have them all evaluated. Just keep a monitor, keep a lookout, and at the first signs of seeing any difficulty similar to the child that was diagnosed, then that's when we really want you to bring your other children in for us to take a look. If you have any specific questions, feel free to pose a question under the Contact Me section of this app, and we'll talk soon.